if the law of morality being subjective, okay, well, let me get more specific. And I alluded to it earlier, if you put baking soda and vinegar, at what point does it produce a human being? What elements, that's more specific. What I'm trying to find out from you, John, what elements within the periodic table can account for consciousness or identity or self-awareness or the laws of morality or the laws of logic? And I find it to be rather disturbing that atheists such as yourself and others among you who follow in those groups cannot see the overwhelming evidence that something material cannot give an account for something immaterial without seeing and really not turning their eyes up to the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So my question, to be very specific, at what point within the evolutionary chain, because you believe ultimately in the tree of evolution, correct? At what point from a fungi up into where we are now, and I know you can allude and tell me about a shark or a dolphin that has self-awareness, and you can use examples. My point is, how do you account for all of them within a human being? Since we are using science and you want to allude to the scientific method, which I also agree with, what point within the evolutionary worldview can you give an account for those things?
I have already specified it. We have higher brain functions that create these things. Like, it's a product of our minds. They are very much like what created consciousness. Nothing created consciousness. That's begging the question. Consciousness came... Huh?
That is absolutely not begging the question, but go ahead.
No, it is begging to say what created consciousness. Nothing created consciousness. Consciousness came about with our higher brain functions. Like, sentient beings came about with higher brain functions. Like, it's how our brain has evolved. And, you're asking me to explain at what point in evolution, and I'm blatantly telling you, it's when we developed higher brain functions. It's when our brains got big enough in order to understand and construct these concepts.
Okay, was it the G protein? What within brain, okay, something that is material, and if you want to move past this question, that's fine, John. What do you know of that is material that can produce consciousness, produce abstract entities? At what point within tell me which animal, which fungi, whatever you want to go back to, which one?
You're being really insulting right now because you're not listening to me at all. I'm trying to explain to you in the simplest terms what it is. Okay? I am explaining to you that these abstract concepts come about because of our higher brain function. In evolution, when we developed higher functioning brains, that is when we started to develop all of these concepts. It was a long process that started over long periods of time. And you going back and being like, which fungi, which element in the periodic table did this? That's just absurd, and it's insulting to me and anybody that you talk about or talk to.
Okay, well, John, first off, I apologize if it comes across insulting. I'm asking you to stay consistent within your worldview and to use your worldview to support these things that are unexplainable, that can only be explained by God, but all of us live within the confines of. We all live with laws of morality. We all live within the uniformity of nature. We all use laws of logic, things that... That's why I'm trying to ask that, and I apologize if I've come across insulting. That's not my intention.
It's only insulting because I've explained it to you several times that that it's not fungi or cauliflower or broccoli. It is just flat out insulting for you to keep going back to that. It's insulting because you're totally disregarding what I'm saying. That's why it's insulting.
Okay, well, in likewise, if you want to compare me to somebody who believes I'm dirt, I wouldn't be offended by that because that's my origin. I was formed out of the dust of the ground, and God breathed into my nostrils, and I became a living being. So if you want to call me a dirt bag or call me whatever you want, you're more than welcome to. I wouldn't be offended by it because that's my worldview. I agree with that. In your worldview, I don't understand how you could be offended by me just going back to the origin in which you subscribe to. But we can move on. I apologize that it's offensive.
I like how you can throw out these tangents and everything like that. But when I throw out some kind of tangent, we've got to put on all the brakes and we've got to turn the bus around. Like I don't understand that at all in our discussion here. I mean, because you throw out this tangent of, I don't understand why you would find it offensive to say that, you know, from fungi to now, like when I've already explained it. It's not that you're comparing me to fungi or anything like that, or that like you compare, you know, or you state the fact that Ray Comfort is made 50% out of bananas. What I'm saying is that you're totally disregarding what I'm saying. What?
I said I don't subscribe or like Ray Comfort, so that makes two of us. So we would have something in common. I didn't think that would happen in today's discussion, but it just did. So I apologize. I will try not to do that. I want to give you the benefit of the doubt. I was pressing an issue that I find is really intriguing, and I feel like atheists should begin there with those type of questions.